Hi everybody, this is Coach Smirchna. We're trying things a little bit differently, obviously due to circumstances. Hopefully I can get through a lecture during my planning block here without any distractions. I'm all coffeeed up from lecture and Canvas learning all day, so I'm going to talk slow, but I'm going to make sure that we kind of cover the things that you guys as parents and girls would need to know for the year. So obviously I think it's really important we understand 2020 is going to be a little bit different than normal. I think it's really important we start out our parent meeting just by making sure you guys understand how hard Mr. Anderson has worked for us. Coach McMahon and I have probably spent over 100 hours the last month trying to figure out how meets are going to happen, and it's been pretty crazy, but the support we've gotten from our admin and from Mr. Anderson have been unbelievable, and we wouldn't be having sports without their help. So to kind of get into things here, for those of you who don't know, my name is Jake Smirchna. This will be my 5th year as the girls' head cross-country coach. Coach Melcher, this will be her 16th year, and then we're not 100% sure how much she'll be around, but Sydney Hirsch works at Midland, and she has been around a few times this summer, and as her schedule kind of gets settled as Midland transitions back into school, she'll probably be around. Sydney ran at Millard West. She, I think, won 3 state titles there and at Wichita State, and she brings a lot of experience to the table for running, and she also got her master's degree in sports psychology from Kansas. So we're pretty excited to have her around, hopefully a couple days a week, and you might see her at some of our meets, so don't be scared to introduce yourself. Really quick before we kind of go into things, I think it was important to hit our team mission statement, just about what we're trying to do every day. I mean, you guys can feel free to read this on your own, but we really want to focus on character development, and running can really help us learn a lot of lessons that are great in life. The team is by far and away one of the most important things we want the girls to understand. So take time with your daughter, read through that quick, feel free to pause it if you need to, but that's just one of the things that we want you to know is going to be a part of everything we do. A couple new things. I only have 15 minutes on this free software, but I purchased this summer a domain name, so FremontGirlsXC.com is going to be where we're going to put a lot of stuff, and there's already a lot of stuff on there. I'll try to make sure that as we get parent emails going, you guys are aware of a lot of that, but you can get on, and I'll even change my screen for a second here. If you get on our Team XC site, I'm going to put a lot of stuff on here. So right away, like I'll talk about this team store in a minute, but there's a link on the front, and it'll load up some shirts we have. I'll talk about that in a second. If you go to the 2020 team, that's where every single week I'm going to put our newsletter, and Troy Brocker's taking pictures of our meets. There's the depth charts, there's the newsletter, there's going to be everything there. So that will all be here for you guys to use as much as you want, and I figured then girls and parents can both have it, and we don't need to worry about who has it and who doesn't. Back to business here. I don't stay on task very well. Your daughter should be bringing home a parent handbook today. Okay, I think it has a lot of the same stuff as normal. I encourage you to look through the table of contents and work through that stuff with your daughter if you haven't. There's a lot of just our team policies and our rules, and there's a few things for parents and about shoes. It talks about your daughter's iron levels and nutrition and sleep and a lot of the things that we believe are foundational to our program. So if you're an upperclassman, you've probably seen it several times. If you haven't looked through it, though, I'd encourage you to, especially for our freshman parents. Starting off, I mean, I really don't have much of an order here, but I thought it was really important we communicate some of the things that we're doing daily at practice with the COVID situation. So we've changed our meeting spot. We're now meeting over on the south side of the track by the Applegate statue. It's shady over there, and it really allows us to probably be anywhere from 10 to 12 feet apart at all times. It's far away from the boys' team, it's far away from football, and really nobody ever goes over there, so that's one of the things that we've done. Not only are the girls getting their temperature checked on their way into school, but they're also doing that every day at practice, so we're making sure anyone who has any type of a fever at all would be sent home immediately. We have enough hand sanitizer to take down an army, and we're expecting the girls every time they walk in at practice or they leave practice, they're doing that, and we're always encouraging hand washing. As the season starts to get into meets, we're going to really keep focusing. I mean, we started it all summer, but we're going to keep focusing on keeping them in their training groups. We don't want necessarily have an overlap, and we want to minimize the risk as much as possible. So for the most part, the girls are around the 3 to 4 girls in their training group that they're running with on most days. We're recording who they run with, and then again, we've spent some time talking to the girls about how they should be running in town and how they should be approaching stoplights and stop signs, and just how we can navigate through the less busy streets and socially distance, and if we're on the more busy streets, how we need to be doing that safely. We've really iterated and kind of changed a lot of our policies that we're not sharing any equipment or water bottles or watches, and anything that would be the possibility of another girl touching it or not. We've sanitized everything. We have Lysol spray and some other materials that administration has provided for us. Last but not least, probably most important, the girls are wearing masks at all times except when we're doing physical intense exercise. So if we're doing core, they're usually in masks. What we've kind of just said is unless you're 12 feet apart from somebody else, your mask should be on. And when they go run, they're not wearing them, but otherwise we are expecting them, and the girls have done a really nice job of that so far. So just so you guys kind of know what's going on at practice and how we're keeping everybody safe, that's what daily practice looks like for right now. On that note, I do think it's important, and this is something Mr. Anderson just wanted us to echo, every interaction matters, and we've really encouraged the girls to just be aware of what they're doing in school and who they're eating lunch with and just how they're conducting themselves in the hallway, because when push comes to shove, as we have certain situations arise in school and in the season, there's going to be questions about who are you sitting by, or who are you by on the bus, or who are you running with that day, and every interaction matters, and we need to make sure that we're doing things the right way. So that really outlines the COVID part of our season, and there'll be a few other things that kind of come up with that as we go. Other important things we just wanted to hit outside of the parent book are that grade checks will be done once a week by Coach Melcher and myself. We expect the girls to be student athletes, and really at the end of the day, their schoolwork is the most important thing. I mean, if they were to miss a part of practice for school, that's something that we know will happen. And even as far as the COVID situation goes, we want the girls to be in school as much as possible, and we don't want anything that we do at practice or meets to jeopardize that. So grade checks will be done, and we expect them to be leaders in the classroom. Like I mentioned a little bit ago, there will be the weekly newsletter posted, and this has been something I think that I've kind of worked on the last 2 years, but I want parents and girls both to know what's going on at all times. So this will be posted every Sunday afternoon or Sunday night on the website, but it's going to have what days are workouts, what time practices will get done. As we get to meets, it will have who's racing at what meet and what time, and what time the bus will leave and where the meet is. And it really will have all the information that everyone needs so that there's no unknowns going into the week. So again, this will be posted on the team website, and I'd really encourage you to have your daughter go show you where that is. And I mean, we do expect the girls to kind of be accountable for themselves, and especially as meets come up, it will be very important for knowing who needs to be at what place at what time. I'm not going to actually end up emailing it out this year, so it will all be online, so don't worry about that. But I did want you guys to know, with the girls knowing the week and what it looks like, if there is any conflicts, we expect the girls to communicate with us coaches and take care of that. We want them obviously balancing practice and schoolwork, but otherwise during the season we want practice to be a priority. So just make sure girls are communicating with us if they're going to be gone. I did create a parent remind group. I don't know if you guys have used this a lot for school, but if there's ever a situation where there's a parking problem at a meet or a weather delay at practice or something, you can feel free to sign up for this. I mean, I will always use email also, but if you go and you send this message 3HG HG9 to 81010, it'll load you in that group, and you can either download the app or it'll just send my messages as a text message. So I'll probably use email as my main form of communication, but if there's anything that arises on race day or anything like that and you want to join the remind group, it's just another one you can have on your phone with school stuff. Another COVID related thing, locker rooms. We're really kind of trying to minimize our risk in locker rooms. So the girls do not have school lockers, but we know that they have a place where they need to safely store stuff and change. So they do have a locker. We're doing things in waves so that there's never more than about 15 girls in there. And we're not going back into the locker room after practice. We're kind of just saying when the run's done, you just need to get your butts home. So again, if there's any issues, I mean, we're a week and a half into school now, so just let us know if there's any issues there. Another just business housekeeping thing, make sure that girls are getting their participation fees taken care of. You can do that all online now. If your daughter's on free or reduced lunch, she should have gotten a green waiver sheet, but that's just kind of a housekeeping thing that we need to mention. Kind of the sucky part of some COVID news, we probably this year will not be, actually we definitely won't be, not probably. Team dinners just won't happen. That's really unfortunate. It's a great part of our team culture and a lot of the stuff we do, but it's just not a risk that we're willing to take right now, and it's just not something that's going to happen. So I know that's a big bummer. It's how a lot of parents are involved, but we're not going to be doing them this year. As far as our schedule, the schedule is on page 2 of your parent handbook. And this is something that it's a working document, like I said. Basically what happened is that we had the OPS fallout, and 12 of the teams that were left said, hey, we know a lot of our meets are getting canceled, so what if we join together and we follow some special rules and we have our COVID conference? So I encourage you to look at this. How the COVID conferences will work is that every other Saturday, there'll be a race of 10 varsity girls and a race of 10 JV girls. And what we'll end up doing is kind of fill in the off weeks with other JV meets, and that's something that's definitely a work in progress. I definitely don't want to overrush on these things, but every single week you'll know ahead of time if your daughter's going to race, because I'll send out the newsletter and an email. And every single meet, so COVID meet 1, for instance, at Walnut Creek, will have a very special set of rules that we'll communicate. COVID meet 2 at Walnut Grove will have a probably slightly different set of rules, just because everyone's going to be in masks, but the places where they allow parents to be is going to be slightly different. So as far as these other JV triangulars and stuff like that, we'll let you guys know at least a week ahead of time what that's going to look like. And a few of these are still kind of up in the air. I mean, as of right now, the Hack Championship will take place. We don't know what that will look like. The Columbus invite, we still aren't sure what's going to happen there. So it's a true skeleton version of things. And again, it'll be in the newsletter every week, and it was quite a process just to get us here. So be patient with us and make sure you're just communicating with your daughter about what's coming up that week. As far as right now, and again, this is another work in progress, but we will probably be taking a bus to most of our meets. We'll probably try to just sit 1-2 a row, but that's still something that we're kind of trying to figure out what's best. As far as girls riding with parents, I think we start to run into some issues there along the way. As far as meet day, for parents, you guys will be getting some info from me the week of the meet. Again, just outlining as spectators what's expected of you. Each girl will get 2 to 3 fans allowed to come for her, and there'll be special places where fans need to be. But just 2 things us COVID conference coaches wanted to mention was that you guys need to understand cross country is probably a little more like baseball this year than normal, in that if you're watching your kid play baseball, you see them out in center, but you don't get to go out and cheer them on in center field. And that's probably a fair expectation of what this year will look like. You're not going to be able to go everywhere that you did last year, and that sucks, but it's just how it needs to be for us to be safe. But there's going to be some other things like water and just what are things going to be like in the chute that are going to have to look much different for us to be safe this year. I'll communicate those as we kind of go, but as parents, you need to understand things are going to need to be a little different. I had kind of showed this a second ago, but we did sign up this year. I decided to try something a little different. There's a link on the homepage of a team store. I just thought it's something that's pretty easy to set up. It just says Fremont Cross Country on it, so the boys team is welcome to it as well. But it just offers a few different things like some polos and stuff that we probably don't normally have. We are still doing our normal t-shirt orders with the boys team, so Mrs. McMahon and I worked hard. We got kind of creative, and this is the form your daughter will be bringing home. This is our normal t-shirts. That's separate from the team store, but we got a little creative and masked up with our tiger there, so your daughter should be bringing that home today. All right, I'm at 2 minutes left, so I really need to focus here. The last couple things I wanted to mention, so there's our boys logo. The girls will be getting those today. We're doing something slightly different with our fundraiser, and I'll explain this to the girls in the next 2 days, but the SNAP fundraiser we're not doing anymore just because we're going to keep it Fremont local more than anything. So if the girls go to 2020 and then the fundraiser, it's going to have a little, similar to SNAP, area where people can click to donate, and we're not selling cookie dough. We're not going door to door with popcorn. We're just going to keep it purely donation based, just especially COVID wise, and I think that keeps our girls safe. So Mr. McMahon and I did decide, Coach McMahon, that if anyone raises $100, they'll get this free backpack with their name customized. And again, I have a few details to iron out on this, but I'll explain this to the girls before the end of the week. Last couple things in the parent book. I mean, as far as what can you guys do, you can make sure your daughters are getting lots of sleep, they're staying hydrated, they have healthy shoes. If they need help with spikes, they need to ask me. Make sure they have great snacks at school. There's a little sleep chart in there, and more than anything else, just be aware of their mental health and well-being. If there's things that you're seeing at home that us coaches need to be aware of, make sure you let us know. Mr. Anderson always includes our last parent communication sheet in our stuff. Just make sure, guys, if stuff's going on, always come to me first. I mean, if we need to get Mr. Anderson involved, we will, but always start with me and Melcher. We're always here for the girls, and we'll get things taken care of. We highly encourage you to join the Booster Club. They take great care of us. We've gotten all kinds of goodies the last few years, and we really encourage everyone to be a part of that. Last but not least, we appreciate your trust, but more than anything, we need you guys to understand there needs to be rules followed this year for us to be safe. I'm down to my last 5 seconds. We're going to take great care of the girls, but let's do things the right way.